and welcome back to my garden. It's almost spring here. The bulbs are starting to bloom, and of course I am really excited to make a few edits to the garden. As I mentioned in my previous videos, I do want to get rid of this big yew here. It is a big huge yew. I used to have another one on this side of my garden as well, which I took out I think about 3 years ago now, and it used to kind of almost block this whole area. So I took that out, and I was debating at that time if I should leave this one or should I remove it, and I decided to keep it because I thought it would give me like some kind of privacy. So I decided to keep it, and the more I look at it and the more I look at my own garden here, I am not loving it. I just feel like it blocks the view of my entire garden area here, and I really want to be able to see this part of the garden even as I am on my porch here. It's really like a big wall that blocks everything. I know it gives me privacy, but I do want to take it out so I can plant something else instead, and I can have something that still offers me privacy, but it is a little bit lower, and yeah, and just something more interesting. I feel like it's really hard to keep this boxy shape, and over the years it hasn't been really pruned well. I think it's just been made into a box, and so there's a lot of dead on the interior. So if you look in the middle of the shrub, a lot of it is just dead inside. So two parts to this. I'm going to start cutting this back, and if I get to a point where I feel like I can live with a smaller version of the shrub, I may keep it. But I think right now I just want it gone so that I can move forward and not overthink this and you know, keep doubting myself for what I'm doing. And the other update I made in this area of the garden is I removed this big boxwood. I cut it back I think a couple of days ago. I knew that I wanted to remove it, so I've cut it back. I mean, there is some new growth on the branches, so I am not sure if I'm gonna keep it and see how it rejuvenates. It might rejuvenate and come back and fill in, which is totally fine with me if it does that. But I will see if I can get it out. I really don't want to manage a boxwood in that section. It was just hugely overgrown, and I did not love it, and it wasn't looking nice at all. So I removed all of the branches there. I'm kind of starting a little bit fresh with this part of the garden. I am making a few edits. I did add a couple of holly, false hollies here. These are called goshiki. I think they are also marginally hardy for me, so I will see how they do. I think some sites say it's zone 6, some say it's zone 5. So if it is zone 5, 6, if it's 6, it may die back. Like, it's supposed to be evergreen, and it's looks like a holly. It's got a little bit softer needles compared to a holly, and it just has a beautiful color. I think it starts off with, you know, a little bit pink red new growth, and then it has these variegated leaves, and I think it'll add a nice pop of color in that corner. So I added those there, and I had an emerald green arborvitae which was in a pot, and it was just not, you know, it tipped over during the winter, so I've been struggling to kind of see where I was going to put it. So I put it in this corner for now. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it there, but I think for this year I'm going to leave it there and see how I feel. And yeah, so edits are being made to this section of the garden, and today's project is to kind of, you know, start cutting this yew back. And you know, I've been like almost like have a gardener's block with this yew. Should I cut it? Shouldn't I cut it? What should I do? And I think today I'm gonna just bite the dust and just kind of say, okay, I'm gonna do this today and see how it feels. I know for sure that when I cut this one back, I felt so happy because all this new gardening space was revealed. I could create this path, and it was only positive when I removed it. So I am pretty confident that if I remove it, it will just open up a door of possibilities, which I don't have right now because I'm feeling very stuck with the shrub that was here when I bought the house. And it's old, and I know it's still healthy, fairly healthy, but it has a lot of dead growth. And because it's right in front of my house, I don't want to kind of have an ugly version of it sitting here for like 2 or 3 years before it kind of comes back. And my style is more naturalistic. I don't like the clipped look. So I think it's just not a fit for me right now. So yes, I've talked myself into starting to remove it. So I'm going to do that, and I'll share with you progress as I go. All right, so here's the progress so far. I've cut, I think, quite a bit of the shrub from the inside. And it's funny how much stuff is stuck inside of the shrub. There's sticks, there was a pair of gloves, there's garbage, all kinds of stuff inside the shrub. So, and so much dust. It's crazy how much dust it can accumulate. It's like a thick wall. So as I'm cutting this back, I'm actually feeling really good about it. I'm feeling like I'm gonna get so much more light here, plant some sun happy plants, and I think it'll be great. So I'm just excited to get this out of here, and I think the challenge will be to kind of cut some of these stems down below. So my plan is to just cut it as close as possible to the ground and leave the stump to deteriorate in the ground over time. And I will probably put a planter on it and put some rocks around it and make it look nice, and that's it. So I'm gonna go with it. I'm not feeling bad about the change at all, and I am gonna keep going at it, and I'll show you when it's all done, or at least when all the greenery is out and we can finally see the view of the garden. All right, so here is progress update on the yew shrub. Most of it is cut back now. I am going in and just cutting the shrub back to the ground. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to finish cutting this back, and my plan is to mound a bunch of compost and dirt. Oh, it's so nice to see the birds. Compost and soil on top of this, and I am going to bury the stump, which I also did. Oh, here's a bird, so cute. So lovely to hear all the bird song in early spring. I love it. Anyways, I cut this shrub back quite a bit. I mean, it took me some time to kind of get through a lot of it, and I realized how massive, you know, I almost forget how massive this thing was, taking up all of this space here. And you know, I have mixed feelings about cutting this back. I do feel good that it's all opened up now. I feel a bit exposed just because there isn't any other plants here, and I feel like I'll need to really think about how I want to fill this space with things that are going to be easier to manage for me and maintain and offer diversity, as opposed to a big shrub that was just kind of doing the same thing throughout the year. And I loved it for what it was, but it just did not work for me, the boxy shape, and I don't think any amount of pruning, I think I would have to be really patient with it for many years to kind of restore it to a more naturalistic look. So that's okay. I mean, I think part of me feels like I was used to having it here. So I think a lot of us would feel that you're used to having a certain, it had a presence, let's just put it that way. And I felt the same way when I removed this one, but I felt it a little bit less because I still had this one on this side. So, but that's okay. I think, you know, as you can see on this side, it has filled in beautifully, and lots of beautiful things come up here. I have roses, I have a brunnera which is starting to open its leaves. I do also have a stilby, I have a hosta in here. So this really is beautiful most of the year, and in the winter you don't really see much. I do have evergreens on this side, so you really don't see much. I usually just end up putting a planter here. Like I had this planter sitting over there for all of the winter, so it was just fine. And I like the openness. Actually, when I look through my door here, I love how open this feels. It's not going to remain open for that long, but I just like not having the height of the shrub here blocking all the light. I like that I can look at this part of the garden when I'm sitting on my porch, and I can see what's blooming easily. And I think that's going to bring me a lot of joy. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue cutting back the shrub, and I'm going to pick up some soil and kind of really replenish the soil here. It's very dry. I mean, it's really good soil here, but it's dry, and there's a lot of debris from the shrub, which I'm going to bury under the soil so that it can kind of it's organic material for the soil. So I'm just going to leave it there, and I'm going to bury it out in soil. And my plan is to kind of put something tall here. I do have a standard willow, which I might put here because I think it'll add a little brightness to this area, and I can control the size of how big I want the lollipop to be, and I can keep it trimmed easier than the yew shrub. And I like the natural shape of it, so I do have it in a pot in the backyard, so I can shop in my own garden and I can put it here. And then I also have some roses that I would love to plant in this area, especially in here now that it's going to get a lot of sun. I will plant some roses in the front here, and I do have some hydrangeas there. I have a quick fire fab, so my thought is to get another quick fire fab and kind of put it more here as well, so that it kind of creates a little bit of a screen in layers, and it's going to be airy in the winter where it's going to let in a lot of light, but also have the beautiful blooms that really add winter interest. I've just recently cut back the blooms, so they do stay on for a long time in the winter. So yeah, there's other ways I can add winter interest, and I might add a smaller evergreen just in this spot to kind of anchor this section of the garden. I might add like a little evergreen here. I've been thinking about a smaller, more easy to manage kind of evergreen that could probably go somewhere here, so that I have something evergreen to look at here. And if I don't have anything like that for now, I'm going to just put a planter there with an evergreen. As you can see, I have a ton of planters that I could just repurpose and put in that place. So not too worried about kind of building up from here. Just, obviously when you have something that you've had for a long time and you cut it back, you do feel a little bit, different without it. I think that would be a good word for describing how I'm feeling right now, but I think it'll be fine. This shrub here, this euonymus, was really struggling too, because it was really backing onto this yew shrub was all the way there, and as you can see, it's pretty bare on this side. So I've given it a little trim. Hopefully it'll get some more light and it'll kind of fill in. I'm hoping that it does fill in and it'll kind of be healthy like the other one. I might fertilize it as well. So yeah, that's the plan. So far it's coming along nicely, and I thought I would take you along and see how we are going to progress with this yew cutting project. So I'll keep you posted. All right, so here we go. This is what this area is looking like now that the shrub is gone. The yew shrub is, as you can see, is gone. I have mounded soil over the stump, and hopefully it will not grow back. And I've put my planter on top of that mound, and I will be planting some, I think, sedums and low ground cover things to kind of sprawl over this little mounded, almost like a I don't even know what to call this, but it's looking really, really nice. I love how it has opened up my entire garden space, and I can see my garden fully. And as the plants grow, there's going to be some obstruction, so it's not going to be a clean view like this, but at least in the spring I'm able to kind of see all my blooms, and I just love not having that big yew shrub right at the entrance. Let me also show you what it looks like from this angle. I've been like working in the garden, so there's lots of things lying around, but as you can see now, it is even on both sides. I don't have a big shrub blocking my porch, so I just love it. I also love the fact that I can now walk around this bed and view it from both sides, so it almost feels like an island bed. Like, I love, like, I can plant littler things around here. I can actually have a bunch of roses that I am going to be planting here. I have Lady of Shalott roses, as well as Princess Anne roses, and I think I have an Olivia Austin as well, which I'm planning to put in this area. And I think it's going to be beautiful with all the roses, and then lots of salvias and other things to kind of as companion plants with those roses. I also have lots of catmint already, so I might add 1 or 2 more, and just little flowers here and there just to give it that beautiful cottage garden vibe. So that's what I am going to do in this area. So I just wanted to show you that I have removed the shrub and it's gone, and it's looking really, really pretty in this area now, and the view is completely changed. And I was skeptical when I started hacking it back, but I just love how this has turned out. So thank you so much again for watching, and if this encourages you to kind of make a change in your garden, even if you're not feeling up for it or you're not sure how to do it, go ahead and do it, and you will feel and look at the place very, very differently. I also wanted to give you an update. I also removed that big boxwood that was there. It wasn't doing so well. It was a really, really old boxwood. It was very hard to kind of get rid of it. Ultimately, I was able to cut it back to the ground. The stump is still there, and I also covered it with soil, and I put some macrorrhiza geranium on it, so that should fill in and cover up. And I removed all that geranium that was here, and this has opened up a nice planting pocket for me, where again I have planted 3 roses. I did put in generous gardener rose there and 2 Boscobel roses. So I am excited with this change because it has given me an opportunity to plant more things and just rethink this area a little bit. I also moved a couple of shrubs in this area, and I had a rose of Sharon which I moved closer to my fence, and so just in general I've kind of updated the space a little bit, so it should wake up a little bit differently for me this season. So even though it's not a big change, it is a big change for me, and I love how it's turning out. So I just wanted to share this video with you to inspire you to, you know, finally do that job that you've been procrastinating or you've been kind of deciding on. Maybe this gives you encouragement to kind of go do it, and you see what it looks like before and after. So thank you so much for joining me, and have a wonderful gardening day.